Hello, everyone. I'm here with Anna White. She is Hallmark writer, and I'm so excited that you're here. So, Anna, I think in general, because I've had the one calls the Heart Writers on, but in general for Hallmark writing, you are only like the first official. I had Joni Kane on once, and she wrote my favorite Christmas card, the Christmas card that and
Okay.
it was back like in 2006. It
Yeah.
was like my favorite, and now you're on, and I didn't realize how many of your movies I love
Oh,
after doing the research. Yeah, and I'm not just giving you lip service. I know them. I can tell you.
I love that. No, I'm honored. Well, when you said you love Butlers in Love, I'm really happy because that one took a few years and many different versions. So
Oh.
that made me very happy.
Well, I liked it because it was so different and I don't know, it just had a different perspective, and the characters were like you could fall in love with those characters in 2 minutes. I love
Right.
them.
Oh my god, and they had such great chemistry, and
Yeah.
that's just a roll of a dice sometimes
Yes.
with these
Yes.
movies, and it's like that one that was like lightning in a bottle there.
Right, right. I loved it. Okay, so let's talk about your writing journey. Let's let them
Okay.
our guests get to know you.
Well, first, I just want to point out I'm wearing a Camp Evergreen hoodie.
Oh,
This was a costume on set of Campfire Christmas, which airs a week from yesterday,
yep, the
July 16th.
16th.
So that's why I don't want people to think, oh God, what a schlubby writer in their hoodie.
No,
Um,
I love it.
it's merch. Even though you can't get this, but anyway,
It was a parting gift for you.
it was. The producer sent it to me after they wrapped. Who
Aw,
knows what extra wore it, but
I love
they
it.
cleaned it. They cleaned it. Yeah, my writing journey. I was lucky enough to figure out I wanted to be a writer, and I was like, and work in movies when I was like 15. So then when it came to
Mm.
picking a college, I was like, who has the best film program? And of course, I shot for USC and UCLA, and really glad I didn't get into any of those because I love where I went, Loyola Marymount University, because they have a screenwriting major where you can just focus on screenwriting. And so from day one, you start in like basics 101. And I loved it. I just like, it was so cool. And then while I was at college, I got to intern at my favorite TV show in the writer's office at Smallville. And at that time, I was obsessed with the show. So actually, let's be honest, I'm still obsessed. They're starting a rewatch podcast next week, and I'm just like over the moon. Anyways, so I got to work in the writer's office there, and people just knew me as the wide-eyed intern because I just couldn't believe I was on the Warner Brothers lot. I couldn't believe
Sure.
they were talking about my favorite characters for 10 hours in the room every day, and just like, yeah. So that kind of solidified it. And then after school, I kind of I was, I had some random jobs. I was a receptionist at a visual effects company that didn't last too long. And then I was a post PA on a TV show, and then a post PA on another TV show that got canceled, and writer's PA at Nikita, and then writer's PA at Elementary. So I constantly was support staff, and I was constantly trying to write and break into TV writing, and it's just so hard. It's
Mhm.
so oversaturated. It's everyone has someone who's trying to break in, and it's so much nepotism in these offices of, oh, my roommate's brother's dog wants to be a writer, so they're getting this year's freelance,
Yeah.
um so it was frustrating. And then in 2016, I was at my friend's house watching, and her mom had a Christmas movie on in the background while we were eating dinner, and I was just like, wait a minute, well, I'm such a rom-com fan. I was like, all this is rom-com. It's light romantic comedy. It's
Yes.
like, I'm like, who's writing these? Because like they don't teach you that in school. They teach you like, oh, either like the big craft filmmakers,
Right,
Scorsese,
right.
whatever,
Good for
or
the
like,
stars, yeah.
yeah, the J.J. Abrams route, whatever. They
Mhm.
don't tell you, hey, there's like 90 movies being made this year on TV now, way more, with all the networks, and someone needs to write them. So I started looking into it, and then I wrote one on spec, which means just an example of a Hallmark
Mhm.
Christmas movie, and I looked on IMDb Pro and looked for who represents Hallmark writers, and I found people's email, and I just mass queried, and only like a few got back to me, and one of them is my manager today, and then he started setting up meetings, and luckily I figured out the formula pretty quickly. And really what they like is like these movies get written really quickly,
Yes.
and so they want to make sure you can do it quickly in their formula, and still have something new each time. So once I figured that out, I mean, knock on wood, I keep getting more projects made. So I hope it just keeps going. So I feel very lucky.
What was your first movie for Hallmark?
Okay, so my first Christmas movie was a short on Lifetime. Then my first full-length feature Christmas movie was on Ion, and then that same year I got I basically was hired to rewrite a movie from like page one, and it ended up being Christmas Wonderland.
Oh, okay.
The Emily Osment one. So that was my first one on Hallmark Channel. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And
so you actually, that might be hard, right? You had to go in and rewrite something else, like someone.
that wasn't. It was tricky because nothing was working in the script they had, and so technically I wrote the entire movie, but it's still called a rewrite because the premise, right, was someone else. So there's some but it was a really good learning experience because I was able to see, okay, well, what didn't work, what's Hallmark actually looking for, and so it was actually a really good like crash course in writing these movies.
Right, it's almost like sink or swim kind of thing.
Totally.
Did you, I don't know, I'm just thinking about when you come up with characters, you have to sit with them for a while, you get to know them. So they were kind of already there for you, right? You would have
the names, but I mean, I gave, they were pretty flat. So I was like, okay, who is this person? What do they really want, right?
Okay.
Like, oh, maybe she wants to be an artist. Like that part wasn't there. Like, you know, so I think the basic premise was there, and I added everything else. So that's always fun to do when you get to bring in and just create from scratch kind of thing.
Now, how long did that take you? Do you remember?
That rewrite? Maybe a month.
Like every day writing feverishly?
Yeah.
How long does it take you to actually come up with like a whole story, like from like a concept in your mind to actually putting it down to, onto paper?
Yeah. Well, that's a tricky question because it varies per project, because some of them, the premise just feels so right and so strong that it just like, it'll flow out and it'll feel like you're just in the zone and it's working. And then sometimes, because a lot of times I'll either be assigned a premise or I'll pitch a story, and majority of the times a producer already gets something approved by Hallmark, and it's usually just the basic concept of it. Like Butler's was a basic concept, and then they brought me in as a writer. And so like that one took a bunch of different versions before Hallmark decided what they wanted, because they just knew it takes place at a Butler Academy, because originally it was more of an undercover boss story. Like it was about an heiress who goes and learns what hard work means. And honestly, that was more what I was into, but
you could still do it.
But one of the executives, maybe this Butler's in Love too. But yeah, so but then there will be some things like Campfire Christmas, as I do this because it's like the opposite of the thing, but
I know, sorry.
Campfire Christmas was the quickest anything happened. So I did a movie with Muse, who's a producer that does a lot of Canadian and LA. They're in LA too, a lot of Hallmark movies. And I did Christmas CEO with them last year. And they're like, well, and we all had a great time. Let's work on something else. So we came up with a bunch of different pitches. And Oneida, one of the producers, sent me an article, and she's like, there's this camp in North Carolina that started the Christmas in July tradition. I think it was like Sunset Magazine or Country Living or one of those magazines. And she's like, do you think you could figure out a pitch from this? And I was like, of course. So I read about it, and then I came up, okay, well, let's do a camp reunion, so that way they're adults and blah, 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 right? So that pitch kind of came out pretty quickly. So I got the article maybe end of November. I was on a Zoom pitching it to Hallmark early December. It got picked up late December. I started writing in January.
Oh, wow.
We shot it in April. And now it's airing. We just shot it. I was just up in Vancouver for it, or Victoria. And now it's airing in July. So what was interesting about that too, when we pitched it, because when I first came up with the pitch, I was like, this is a summer movie. This is it's about Christmas in July. It should take place in July.
I know. I love it.
but when I pitched it, I gave them the option of making it a winter Christmas because they hadn't yet done any Christmas in July yet. So I didn't want the pitch to get shut down because they thought this is only a summer movie and we don't do those yet.
Yes.
And actually part of I'm gonna go into a little ramble right now, but this is the first ever Christmas in July movie to take place in July on the channel. The story takes place in July.
Yes, because I noticed that. And there's even a line, I think Corbin has the line where he goes, I love Christmas in July more than I love, in December. Yeah. And I was like, this is a real Christmas in July movie.
Thank you. And I'm kind of let down that Hallmark hasn't promoted it as such because they're so big on promoting the entire month as Christmas in July. And they're like, we have 3 new movies, but 2 of those movies take place in December. Those aren't Christmas in July movies. So I'm just like, I just want everyone watching to know this is the first ever Christmas July movie where the plot, it's integral to the plot that it's summer. It makes sense to this plot that it's summer. And I think that's what is really exciting. But that was probably the quickest. So where Butler's took 3 years, this was like 4 months before from pitch to production. So it really, really, really varies.
I have it. I'll write it down, and then all week leading up to it, I have things I'll post on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll say it. I'll make a little mark in the world, my little corner. We'll get it out there. That's like, I know, I love that because I noticed it because my family actually celebrates Christmas in July. So last year, I put out some things that I like to do. And then this year I was like, I'm going to really focus on the stories because there's 3 premiering because we had one last year, which it wasn't a Christmas in July. It was Christmas movie. And then I was all excited. I'm like, we got 3 this time. And then I started, searching and looking and thinking, I want to get all the stories I can about this. This is exciting.
Yes. Yes. I love that.
You get to do it.
You get to do it. No, I'm so grateful you noticed that because, their entire Christmas in July promotion was only footage from our movie. So I was know.
I saw I guess it's Tori. Is it Tori Anderson? I think that's her name. Her character's going inside. And I'm like, that's like a cabin. When it first came out, I'm like, wait a minute. This is from that movie. And then the other thing too, that, I noticed is you could see them running and doing the fun games. I'm like, we do that. And that's what made me think, oh goodness, this is a real, I'm glad they did it smack in the middle too. I guess they did the first one because Kevin and Kayla are like, people who are out there in Hallmark love those 2 and they're together in a movie again. So I get that they hooked them in, but I'm glad they didn't wait to the end for yours. I'm that it's like, it's soon. It's the next week. It's this week coming up. So it's
Saturday. And also what's cool about it, as I just completely keep plugging it, is
you should. That's why we're here.
I really saw it and I really wrote it as like an ensemble piece. And there's a few storylines going on, and in the final cut, they trim some of the other storylines. So it's like definitely Tori and Corbin's story is the main one, which I get. That's why we love Hallmark movies. But I'm excited. I was so excited when I saw the poster because I think this is the first Hallmark poster where it's not just 2 people on the poster. Nope. It's the entire cast. So
it's cute.
That really excited me too.
And I'm wondering, Caitlin Stryker, I interviewed her and she was filming. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm wondering if she was she had a few hours off. I'm wondering if she was filming for that movie at that time.
Did you interview her end of April?
I'm pretty sure it was like around that time. And she was actually on location. So we had to finagle some time and we were promoting a movie that was coming, her other movie. Maybe it was a little later. I don't know, blurs together, but she was like, I'm like, oh, she's in. I wish I had known. But then she may have not been able to talk about it. I'm like, oh, darn.
Yeah, they didn't announce it till pretty late. But maybe they just wanted to make sure it was good before.
Well, no, they just take a while. I think they're just overwhelmed. Look at me. Like, I know. They're just overwhelmed, I think.
I have a lot of thoughts for their promotions department, but I'll get
All right. So I'm curious to know, like, what is your favorite, you kind of maybe said it, like, do you have a favorite part of the story, like a favorite scene or something, like, anything, a character, a line that we should be looking out for that you think we're going to love besides the whole idea that it's Christmas in July?
Besides the whole movie being in Christmas in July. Well, I think what's fun about this is it's a camp movie, and so
Mhm.
they have flashbacks to when they're 16 and then modern day because
Oh,
they
cool.
basically have been going to this camp. So Tori, the main character, it's her parents, it was her grandparents, there's great grandparents camp that got passed down, and so and then she has this group of friends that are like family that she still keeps in touch with, and obviously one of them was a love interest, and we'll learn about how that went down and them reconnecting. And so that's the A story. She's reconnecting with um her camp love.
Right.
But I think my favorite part is the B story, because Jeffrey Boyer Chapman is
Mhm.
amazing. He's so funny. His character Beckett, he's gay, but he wasn't out back when they were younger.
Oh, when he was
And
younger.
so you find out he has a camp theater rival that was always trying to get the parts of the summer pageant, right?
Yeah.
And they were going head to head and they hate each other. And then they come back and he's like, oh, I hate that guy. He always was taking my parts. And you realize later that that guy was also gay and he had a crush on him. And that's why they always didn't get along. And so he kind of gets a second chance at a camp love because
Aw,
and I
yeah.
just like as someone who's gay and growing up, you know, sometimes you miss those opportunities. And so
Yeah.
there's this one scene, and it's with Tori and Jeffrey, and it's their characters, and he's telling her, he's like, I didn't have the same camp experience that you did. You
Oh, I
guys
think I
all
heard her say that. But you don't
yeah.
hear the whole thing
You
in
don't
the
hear the thing, but it's my favorite scene. It was
Oh,
they shot at the. I got to be on set for that day. I was so happy. Um, they they were amazing because we were almost out of time. They were both like one take wonders. I just like the
yeah.
performance is like amazing. So that's already my favorite scene. But he's telling her is like I didn't have the same experience you had. I can't. And now I get to. And like so I just that scene made me emotional. And they better keep it in. I think they will.
No, that's in. I think I heard a piece of it. And don't you get mad when they chop out some of the good stuff? Don't like I'm like, why?
It's like it literally feels like they're chopping off a piece of meat.
I'm sure. I can imagine. So that was another question I had for you. Like, once they say, okay, this is the script and they're going, and
Yeah.
directors have their own visions, do you how much of a say do you have? Do they come back to you? Are you there? Are you on set? Or it depends?
Roxanne, this is such a good question because it is something that I struggle with as a creative, that
Mhm.
I'm constantly clawing my way into having more power.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, at the beginning, it was okay, goodbye, and you have
Oh,
nothing to do with this. And kind of as I get to know these producers more, and as I get to know these projects and the
mhm.
network, I'm letting them know I have such a more interest in the whole process. And like
Oh, good.
I would love to one day direct something I wrote because
Mhm.
just I mean don't be oh my god the director of this did an amazing job. He understands camp movies. David Strauss. I always worried I'm saying his last name wrong. David Strauss. Anyways, the director of Campfire Christmas, he did a wonderful job. Nicest guy in the world. But yeah, it's definitely hard to have someone be like, okay, now this is my movie. I got to shadow a director of one of my Lifetime ones last year, and that was really cool because I got to be there the entire time. So normally I'm just there maybe for a visit or two,
Mhm.
at the request of me being like, can I please come? Can I watch it? I have a Christmas movie I'm working on now that's going to shoot in August, and I luckily got to negotiate a producer credit. So that one I get to go for the entire time. And so slowly but surely as I build my career, I definitely like having more of a say. And it's tricky because a lot of these producers and these directors, they have this idea that the writer's so married to their words. And that's not at all it. It's like, hey, if you need to cut this scene, that's cool. But then I'll know that down the line, this other line won't make sense anymore.
Right, right.
So let me just tweak it so we can cut this scene. Like that's why I think it's so helpful to have the writer there. But they all think, oh, this writer is so worried about their words, and like,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's not at all the case with me. I think it's such a collaborative process, and everyone on set, like, oh my god, the set decoration on this set is amazing. The art department,
Oh, cool.
because I came up with these random Christmas/summer games, right? Like capture
Right,
the
right.
Reef and like they have these beautiful wreaths, and that it
On
just
their arms and they're running. I saw it.
yeah,
I saw
yeah,
it. And then you did the water balloons for like a snowball fight instead. I saw
yes,
a barrel filled with them.
yes,
So I
yes.
was already tuned in. I'm like, oh, this is great. So actually, I think my whole my family, they're Hallmark people. We'll have to watch it together. I think we'll get like
Yeah,
a kick out of it. It'll be fun.
definitely.
Now, okay, so we talked about Campfire Christmas and we can talk more about it, but I wanted to ask you, like, okay, so the movie you were just talking about that you're going to be filming in August, is that
Yes.
for Hallmark or is it for a different channel?
It's a Christmas movie, but for a different network.
Are you allowed to say which network it's
Oh,
for?
yeah, it's CBS. Sorry, I'm so worried about like what's Hallmark official and what's not.
No, you can.
It's CBS. It's gonna be. They did 3 Christmas movies last year. They're doing 3 again this year. Everyone's getting on the Christmas train. And
In my research, I saw a news article about that. So you'll be in for I'm going to have to look up more on that. That's cool.
yes, I'm in the middle of doing. I just got a round of really intense notes. I thought we were clear. I thought we were all good on the script, and the network was like, actually, can you just change everything really quick? Thanks.
Oh no! Oh gosh!
It's part of it. I'm slowly learning. It's just part of the game. You can't. Actually, that's something I'm really grateful for. Is my freshman year screenwriting class. He did a whole day on learning how to take notes and letting go of your ego. And it was the best thing ever because you use it every day with these networks. Because what they say goes. Even if you're like, you got to figure out how to make their notes work in a way that you like.
So that's interesting because I know that. Okay, so there's a different when you first started. They had a different CEO at Hallmark.
Yes.
And so you have a new CEO. Do you see changes in the rules and what is okay and what can't? I remember I watched, they know I research. I watched a really cool interview with you, and you were talking about, I think you mentioned where there were even rules like how children could behave, like they couldn't roll their eyes, right?
Yes.
So can you share some of those things that have gone, like that were, and then now they're going away? It would be kind of cool. Okay, let's hear them.
Yeah, it's the old Hallmark and the new Hallmark, and I think the new Hallmark is also still trying to like figure out how much they can push the boundaries both in content and diversity and all that. But old Hallmark was, you couldn't be sarcastic, you couldn't be mean, everything was. I mean, every problem it wasn't really a problem, and that's hard to write when all of writing is about conflict. When Aristotle's Poetics lay out the rules for writing drama and comedy, and it's all about conflict. And they're like, her hardest thing is she doesn't remember what it's like to celebrate Christmas, which works, but you need something deeper to lift that, And so, so now characters can have sarcastic comments, and they can be like a little snarky or like have actual feelings, or more dead parents in the past, or there's characters now who are divorced. So I think that's changed. But yeah, I think I wrote in Christmas Wonderland, it was a kid rolled their eyes at broccoli, and they're like, we can't have kids rolling their eyes at broccoli. One of them, a note I got on a different one was like, you can't show parents stuffing stockings because most of our viewers still believe in Santa. And I was like, what? I mean, that one's sweet. I was like, okay, we'll just, but now it's more like, what's her, emotional want? What's that? Like, it's more, it feels like real characters, which is really refreshing and really fun.
Well, actually, so last night premiered, my grown-up Christmas list, and as soon as it was over, I listened to a podcast, Suspenders Unbuttoned, and they were talking about the storyline and why they were so excited. They follow and love the one act. Well, they love Kayla too, Kayla Wallace, but they love Kevin McGarry, and they were saying that for them, the movie was so wonderful because the writing had depth. There was some melancholy in there, and she was sad because her mother had died on Christmas Eve, so there was and then she had to dig through all of that, which is nice because we never would have seen that before. They would have maybe suggested and skirted around it. So
right or hinted towards it.
Yes, they love it. I get where you don't want to be too different, because then the very audience that loves the show, that loves that feel good family, we get that. But then also it's nice to be able to identify with certain things, because not everybody's family is the same. So when they say family friendly, when people use those terms, I'm like, if I looked at my classroom, do you know how many different families I have? I have children who have two moms. I have children raised by strangers. I have children raised by, their dad, their uncle, the stepsister and brother. They're all different,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you mean family friendly?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, what they really should say is we want to make movies that make you feel good and inspired. Like
Yes.
that's really the bottom line and what people like about these movies, and happy endings, which we all need and we all want and we all crave. And
Yes,
and you can
absolutely.
do that, and you can do those stories in so many different ways that I'm glad they're exploring it. I'm glad they're showing that.
Yeah. So we're not done, but I'm
Oh,
just
that's
gonna say I'm just, the way I'm saying it makes it sound like that. So we will
Oh.
definitely be tuning in, which is this Saturday, 8 7 Central for us in the States.
Yes.
So it's 8 and then 7 Central. And it is on Hallmark Channel, and it's the 16th, Campfire Christmas, which I cannot wait to watch.
I wish it was called Christmas in July.
I know. That would have been great, right?
It would have just really helped the marketing.
Yes.
The working title and all my files on my computer right here are just it was Camp Christmas,
Right.
but that didn't clear, I think, because there's already a movie called Christmas Camp.
Okay.
So it ended up being Campfire Christmas, but I wish it was Christmas in July, so that way people, because it was so funny. My friend texted me the other day and she's like, "My friend's watching Christmas in July, your movie," and I was like, "Well, it's not till July 16th." So she's like, "Well, what is she watching?" I was like, "They call the entire month Christmas in July." And then I have to explain it to everyone,
I know. Well, those of us that are true Hallmark fans, we get it. We know it's who you're trying to get in, to watch the show.
Right.
So I had a question that we hadn't covered, and I'm interested in this one for myself. I'm curious. Do you have, is there a movie, and not that you want to say anything negative about any of your movies, but is there a movie that it may have been the plot, it could have been the setting, and it could be maybe one movie had the setting, the other movie had the plot, or a character where it was in your mind and you actually got to see it really come to life. It was exactly what you thought, they nailed it. Ever?
Bits and pieces. So far it hasn't been, which I get, because it's just, it doesn't work like that, because
that makes sense to me.
Things need to be snapped, and I always picture different people in my head than casting, because casting ends up being a really rushed process sometimes. I have yet to, I really love Check Into Christmas, because that was my first original pitch for Hallmark, where I came up with the entire premise. But there's a few scenes in that I was like, I pictured them so differently. So I have yet to get there, but I know it's coming. I have sections of movies where I'm like, yes, this is it, but
is what about Campfire Christmas that you love? I know it's going to be exceptional. We're very excited, but what's something that really stands out for you so we can look for it? Is it a particular character? Is it the B storyline?
I think it's the B storyline for sure. And it already breaks my heart. I already know that for time wise, it was too long. So they cut out a few scenes from the B storyline. So if you feel like there should be more, you're right. And that's the other thing is a lot of people watch these movies, and I follow on Twitter, and a lot of times they'll have questions, or wait, what happened to this? What happened to that? And I want to be like, it was there, it was in the script, but they had to cut it for time, because there's and so actually I'm still learning to stop overwriting these movies, so that way I don't have this heartbreak every time. But
what if you didn't have enough? So I think overwriting's okay, right?
One of my Lifetime movies, it was running, they were like, they called me up in the middle of the shoot, and they're like, we need another scene. It's running too whatever. It was too short. And I was like, okay. So ever since then, I'm so paranoid, I overwrite it. Now this Christmas movie, I'm working on these notes. They're like, can you take out about 15 pages? I'm like, okay.
No,
I know.
No, you cannot.
Can we just, Peter Jackson made a 4-hour Lord of the Rings. Do people not want that for Hallmark? I guess not.
Well, wait a minute. I always think, and this happens a lot, as soon
Mhm.
as the movie's over, we're like, "Where's a 2? We want a part 2."
Yes, yes.
So, like, that maybe write that with that in mind and get a
Yeah.
part 2, you know,
Well,
like
I'm always hoping a movie of mine does so well they want a sequel, because I think that's really what constitutes them asking for a sequel, is if
yes.
the ratings are just crazy high. So I'm
Yeah.
always ready. There's many more stories to tell in all these movies. So
So we have some questions and comments over here. Let's
awesome.
see. I'm going down. I went from the top. They're chatting with each other, saying hello. It's like a little mini reunion because I haven't. I took a little break for a couple of weeks from my podcasting, and now I'm like back. I have you, and then tomorrow I have Jesse Hutt. She's going to talk about. He's the last one, the Christmas in Toyland.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
so he's coming on. Yeah.
Oh, a December Christmas movie in
It
July?
it is. Oh gosh. All right, let's see what we have here. I just saw people were don't worry, you'll be fine. Oh, they're I'm over there telling them stories in the chat while we were waiting.
Oh,
Well, skip over me. All right, here's Janice. Janice says, when you had to do the rewrite, did anyone tell you what wasn't working in the first script? Were they like
uh,
specific?
yes, there's usually about 20 pages of in the 3 rewrites I've done in my career. There's about 10 to 20 pages of notes
Oh my.
from the network saying everything that didn't work, and it was to the point where it's clear most of it wasn't working. So when it's that extensive, it's easier to start from scratch. And but I have to do that on my own work too. Like this one for the CBS one, like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these things change the entire script, so I'm kind of rewriting every scene. So right, if you guys are writers out there, writing is rewriting. Like it is, you're never, if besides, I think Kevin Williamson wrote the first Scream movie in 3 days and then sold it. Other than that, I've never heard of a story where people aren't rewriting constantly. So
I once heard an interview years ago by Amy Tan, Joy Luck
mhm.
Club, and she said, and she also wrote called Fish Cheeks, a cute story that my students would read when they were in 5th grade. And I would tell them, because I taught writing too, how you could just be drafting and rewriting and editing forever. There's got to be a point where you stop. And she even said that. She said after everything was done, and that was a big, thick book, and she's going through it, she just wanted to rewrite, and you know what I mean? So you have
Totally.
to be able to live with. You got to say stop after a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. My mom, she does a lot of watercolor and painting, and we talk about the similarities of like, when do you know it's done, and are you still messing with it or over messing with it? So I think for a lot of creatives, that's a major issue.
So this is Susie. She said the process sounds fascinating. So Susie has just ventured out and has become, because I've seen her work on fan fiction. She's been doing fan fiction,
Ooh,
and it was it's kind of nerve wracking. You put it out there for everyone to read, right?
yeah.
What would you have it like? I'm putting you on the spot
No,
for
it's
this,
good.
but someone who's just starting out writing and they know people are going to have to read their work. What's a piece of advice that you could give them?
Well, I think it's good that Susie's writing fan fiction, because really that's all movies and TV. I mean, unless it's like some biopic or whatever, but even
Yeah,
that, like Baz Luhrmann is
yeah,
kind of Elvis fan fiction. Like,
right.
I think it all comes down to, what do you want to watch? What interests you?
Hmm.
Um, I know people are always like, write what you know,
I
but
said that, yeah.
let me just tell you this: do not take that literally.
Yep.
Whatever you do, otherwise, like in film school, we had a huge sign that said, please don't make a movie about a film student trying to make a movie. This is like, because everyone like takes that so literally, like, well, what do I know? I'm a struggling writer, so I guess my character's a struggling writer. I say that, and Tori Anderson's character in this is a struggling writer, but don't read too much into that. Majority of the time, what they mean is write what you know about the human condition, right? What you know about heartbreak, right? What you know about wanting something, because you can take all that and everything you feel and set it on Mars, and it's going to be just as powerful, and it's just as
Mhm.
important that you're writing it. So do never take that advice literally. I think that's also my bit of advice is not taking that advice literally.
And it's good advice because not everybody does. They think that they're going to have to research the life out of something. And even if you do, you still are removed from it if your heart's not in it. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
like, you have to all the characters, you have to understand their point of view. You have to there has to even in your villain, even in your antagonist, there has to be a reason why they're doing that, and you have
Mhm.
to feel like, "I believe that." And so you do find whatever part in you, "Oh, this person wants to blow up the world. They're a comic book villain. Okay, what part of me has ever felt that kind of bizarre feeling?" Like, that's what they mean by write what you know,
Right.
right? The
What
emotional
drives you?
yeah.
Yeah, the emotional part of it. This is just a nice Susie saying to you, cool, love it. When we were talking about the whole premise of the Christmas in July
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of whole idea. And Janice is just complimenting you. She's saying, thanks for being able to create so quickly, so well. It's the truth because I'm serious now. When I was like, wait a minute, Butlers in Love, and then the Christmas Inn one, I'm like, those are different. They were things that I loved, and I knew about Butlers in Love, but then I just didn't make the connection. And I'm like, oh, look at you out there doing different. Like, we love that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. No, I love that. I kind of see this career as getting to live multiple lives. And so I have a lot of interests and I try to work them into each movie. Um, and yeah, and it's fun and it's always good to hear that. So thank you, Janice, because right now, I don't know if for all the creatives out there, I'm having major imposter syndrome
Right?
as I do my rewrites on this one script because it's just and it's like you just have to ignore it and keep going because I think it's just part of being creative is questioning are you good enough and then being like shut up I got to get work done
Right, you gotta stop that voice that's in your head. They wanted to know, did you ever go to summer camp? Are you a camp student?
I did I went I
Child?
think I went fifth between the summers of fifth and sixth grade. I don't remember much except for well I took a cartooning class which was really cool and then I got the stomach flu when I got home so those are my memories so this is more of an idealized camp version
Okay.
think Parent Trap think Hot Wet American Summer that kind of camp not that tone but like the like oh there's a lake and everyone's just having fun and it's great kind of thing.
What you know what, where is the setting? Where was the actual place?
So this is something that happens all the time. It since it was based on a North Carolina camp, I
Right.
said this in the script. It's set in North Carolina. Then they decided they want to shoot in Victoria, and for some reason they decided it doesn't look enough like that, so it has to take place on the West Coast. So for a while it was somewhere in Oregon, and then it was Washington, and then it ended up being Montana. So it takes place in Montana, but just so you guys know, in the script, it took place in North Carolina, and I think it could have easily still because
I was
it's
gonna say, why not? That's not
it's a
far from me because 'cause I'm from New Jersey, so that's right down, the
yeah,
coast. That's
and
not
like
far at all.
it's green and like
Sure.
even though it's shot on the west coast of Canada, I feel like Canada can be so many places, as you know.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I guess it takes place in Montana, which is funny because my CBS Christmas one also takes place in Montana. And fun fact, I've never been to Montana.
Oh, you're gonna get to go though, right? Aren't you
No,
gonna
we're
get to
shooting it in Canada.
all right. Well, you're gonna have to go one day. You'll have
I
to go.
want to go to Montana. I hear it's beautiful, and
Yes. So, the other thing I wanted to ask about the setting was those little cabin type, like she looks like she's opening the door and going in. Are
yeah.
those real or is that like a set?
No, we shot at a real camp. I'm gonna post on the night it airs. I'm gonna post some behind the scenes of the camp.
Okay,
It's a
good.
real camp on Victoria Island. I think it originally was a Bible camp. I'm not sure,
Okay.
but it's used for all different things. And I stayed in one of the cabins. So most of the crew, the cast stayed in hotels nearby, but most of the crew stayed in like
Okay.
bunked up in the cabins and got their like full immersive camp experience. So it was at a real camp, which I think really helps add to the the feeling
Sure.
that you're there.
Well, yeah, it makes it easier for the actors too, right? They don't
Yeah,
have to like imagine so
yeah,
much.
exactly. They can just do method acting.
What's it say? Oh, Janice is saying, Anna, that would be great to be able to take your work from beginning to end, like you were saying, like being able
Like a
to, yeah,
direct. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
All
Thank you.
right.
I can't wait. One day.
Susie said, this is nice. I'll post because you were giving her advice. She was saying thank you.
Oh, good. Of
Yeah,
course.
she feels encouraged.
Okay.
And Candace is saying she can't wait to see the movie.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, Alice came late. She said, but she's loving everything she hears. And then Susie's saying you should go to Montana because it is beautiful there.
I just my parents took a trip there when I was little and they had pictures from there, and I remember wanting to be there. So
you didn't get to go?
I didn't get to go. I was probably in school or something.
No. Janice said that she's had to work summer camps and stay in them. Not too good.
Yeah, well, like I didn't say it was a luxurious experience. When it was funny when I got in and they're like, production got you a sleeping bag and a pillow, and I was like, great. And they're like, showers are down the hall. And I was like, cool. It's not. I understand why the lead actors. I understand why all the actors stayed in hotels.
Yes, but wait a minute. You didn't have to share with anyone, did you?
No. They gave me my own. They at least gave me my own.
Your own space, because at camp there's like 900 to a
no, that would have been like, and especially like during COVID. No, at least I had my own.
That's true.
I had my own cabin.
Yeah, I forgot about the whole COVID stuff. I don't know how I do. I mean, but I did.
It's easy to, and I wish one day we will be able to.
Yes, I hear you. This has been lovely. We're going to look out for all your movies. Awesome. Is there anything else that you like wanted to plug movie wise that we can look out for that has a title, or you can't say?
No, I can't. So obviously this Saturday, Campfire Christmas, and then
we'll be live tweeting. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm definitely I think I'm gonna live tweet the East Coast premiere for sure.
All right.
With some behind the scenes photos, hopefully.
Cool.
And then this December, I don't know. I don't have an air date yet because I have to finish the script and then we have to shoot it. But Fit for Christmas on CBS, starring Amanda Kloots. That's coming up. So cross your fingers that I make these script changes.
You will. Wait a minute, who's starring in it? Amanda who?
Amanda Kloots. She's one of the hosts on The Talk. She's Dancing with the Stars. A lot of people know her story. She lost her husband to COVID, unfortunately. Yeah. So
okay, cool. All right, we'll be looking for that on CBS. That's so cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm excited for that.
All right, my dear. We are going to say goodnight to everyone, but you stay on so we could say goodbye in the studio. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Yes. Thank you. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Next Saturday, 7 Central, and it's Campfire Christmas. Is going to be good because it's a real Christmas in July. And all week I'll have things posted. We'll live tweet, and I have like recipes for Campfire Christmas, like for Christmas in July stuff. So I'll post things all week leading.
They make s'mores. They make s'mores in the movie. So if you guys want to have s'mores at your watch party,
yes,
I always do some more of those.
I actually have snowman s'mores.
That's what they do. They make snowman s'mores with the marshmallows.
I told you we celebrate.
You know your Christmas in July.
I know. All right. Good night, everyone.